So, let's see. John gave me this assignment, which I, of course, immediately refused and changed. Because, the real question is why I'm in Austin, because I damn well want to be. Next. So now I'm going to talk about something else, which is, what's going to happen here in Austin? Because I'm more concerned not about the present than I am about the future. And we're pretty awesome right now. We are the third or fourth largest game development location here in the United States. Now, we're not the third or fourth in North America because both Vancouver and Montreal, Quebec, Montreal are pretty damn big. So, but they have some unfair advantages on us. But I think that what do we lack? What have we always lacked? We've always lacked anchor publishers. We've never had anchor publishers here for very long. We have them for a little bit, they get bought by somebody else, and they get closed down. We have them, they get bought, they get closed down. It's been our cycle. And so what we've ended up being is we ended up being a lot of satellite studios, a lot of insourcing, and nowadays a lot of indies, which is cool. So, just Austin itself. Austin just bumped from the 13th to the 11th largest city in the country in the last 2 years. And it's a ways to go to get to number 10, by the way. We're probably not going to jump to number 10 anytime soon. But Austin's growing like crazy, and it's growing like crazy consistently. We're also a very highly educated city. We sit number 5 in number of higher educated people per capita in the entire country. So we have some unfair advantages that here in Austin that we need to be thinking about and taking advantage of. And we're going to continue to grow. Right now, they're projecting that our 2 million Austin metro area is going to be 4 million in 25 years. So that's pretty big. We are not going to be the same city. Some of you have been here. Who's been here more than 10 years? About half. So it's not the same city that it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. I think the first time I came here as an adult, was 30 years ago, and it was a totally different city than it is today. It's still cool, but it's very, very different. So Austin's going to change demographically too. If you look at this crazy picture, right? In 1960, this was white bread, period, right? And as you kind of move across here to 2030, in 2030, the whites are not even going to be the largest single segment. And in fact, we're going to have a lot bigger Hispanic population and a lot bigger Asian population. I don't think I have it in here, but we are, I think, the 8th or 9th largest Asian center in all of North America, which is kind of cool. Trying to flip it. Okay, there it goes. So, the really big question, the $64 billion question, I'll call it, is what's going to come? What's happening in our overall game market? So, in case you haven't noticed, the last 3 to 5 years have been pretty darn disruptive. Everybody's got challenges. The big companies are all struggling. As much as they put on a good face, they are struggling big time because the market's being disrupted. The disruption of distribution, the disruption of new platforms that they don't dominate or they can't get a dominant position within has really rocked all the current giant companies back on their heels. And some of them have already failed, and more of them are going to before it's all said and done. We are, in essence, the music business 10 years ago. And that's happening to games right this second. We're going to continue to see more platforms. People want a game on everything they put their hands on. So if it's going to be a consumer good, it's going to be gameable somehow. It's going to be something that we're building product for. And we're going to see, the rate of change is going to continue to accelerate. We think, there'll finally be a place where it'll slow down or it'll take a pause, but I haven't seen it happen, and I'm not expecting it to happen going forward. And what does all that mean? It means that in the end, the premium for us is going to be on not only our creativity, but our agility. How fast can we adapt, and how well can we bring cool stuff to these platforms that we're going to work on? So suddenly, that levels the playing field. It doesn't mean it's the people with the most capital or the most distribution strength or the best airport that can go to every place in the world. It's the people who can come up with the best ideas who can win. And anybody can take that place, not just the big, the San Franciscos and the Seouls and everywhere else in Tokyo. So, what are my hopes? Gosh, there's lots of things that we could brand ourselves. We could brand ourselves as the world capital of indie gaming. We got a giant, awesome indie. How many of you guys actually go to Juegos Rancheros or hang out with a big percentage? That's awesome. We have an awesome indie game infrastructure. Can we parlay that into being the creative capital of gaming? And I think the only way we do that is that we make cool stuff. We make stuff that people haven't seen yet. We foster our indie thing and take some of that indie stuff and make it commercial as the really cool stuff bubbles out of it. And in the end, can we build world-class IPs and world-class publishing outlets? And by a publisher, I don't mean our traditional publisher. I mean whatever the next wave of publisher is going to look like. Because in the end, will it look more like Finland? Where you have a few companies with a couple of cool games are suddenly together, if you added them up, are worth as much as EA. And they have like 4 games. So, it's a whole different landscape that we're living in today. So the opportunity space is gigantic, but we've got to kind of do our work to make it happen. So for this to work, we're going to need a complete ecosystem. And for years, our ecosystem has been crippled. We haven't had the top end, the people with the capital, to, here. For a long time, there was hardly any venture here. Venture is not really our friend in making content, though. It's not their gig. But our venture capital came out of publishers, and there just weren't publishers here. We've always had a pretty healthy independent developer layer. Now we have a very vibrant indie scene, but it hasn't always been that way. There was a solid commercial thing here, but not a lot of experimentation going on. And we certainly didn't have a world-class education set up for gaming here. But now suddenly we have multiple universities trying to do multiple things, and they're really putting their effort behind it. But their effort alone is not going to do it. It's us helping them do it is what's going to do it. The instructors have to come from us, not from the university, because they bring in industry people to instruct. And if we're not doing that, then those things are not going to thrive, and they're not going to create the right kind of talent that we need. So again, the examples out there is if little tiny country of Finland can end up having an inordinate effect on the entire gaming business, why can't we? We certainly have the aggregation of talent. Now, we're going to have to make hit games to make that happen, though. And that means not putting up with doing just enough, which is what being a work-for-hire shop teaches you, is just do what it takes to get the money and move on to the next game. So we're going to have to unlearn some muscle memory and go to a different kind of learning for ourselves. So I'm going to implore you all to think about how we've got to do this to build this. We've got to create, not copy. And if you look at our history, we've made a lot of sequels / just like that, only with a little bit different veneer on it, games. We've got to be more customer focused. I can't tell you, I've worked for a bunch of companies in town, and most developers that I run into are not customer focused. They're focused on their own navel. And we've got to be customer focused to create what they want and they need. And we've got to work on that value proposition. It's got to be valuable to the customers. And we can't get complacent. We got to keep learning. How many people know people in town who are complacent? They like what they do. They want to keep on doing it. They don't want to learn anything new. Those people are poison to what we're going to need to go through to win in the marketplace. And we are going to have to be agile and lead those market changes, not just follow them. And finally, we've got to build we have an awesome game community here. We have to build on it. There should be 5 times as many people in this room. Everyone should be a member of the IGDA locally, if not the main thing. At least be on the mailing list for the local thing. They should be coming to events because the community is where our strength is. It's not in our individual stuff. It's in all the people together. So my hope for everyone here is that you stop waiting for someone else to do it and get off your butt and help us make Austin what it can be in the future. Thank you. Thank you.